We're back.
We are back
We back.
for an
We are back.
episode.
Yes. And we gave the people a heads up
We did.
last time. And we said we were going to be talking about a great debate.
I don't know if it was great, but it's a debate.
No Denzel Washington, no Janie Smollett, but a great that's right, guys. We are here to bring it right back around and talk about the Dwayne and Whitley saga.
hmm And Byron.
And
You don't ever want to mention Byron.
because he who shouldn't be named.
Wow. Well, guys, before we get into this conversation, be sure to like the video and subscribe and comment below with who you're rooting for as far as Whitley is concerned. Were you rooting for Dwayne or were you rooting for Byron? Tanisha's team Dwayne. Avi, I am team Byron. So let us know whose team you're on.
Absolutely. All right. So we are a few years separated from our first round of conversation.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the question. We're going to have a discussion. We're going to review some other things from that episode. But we're not going to get stuck there, Tina, okay?
Okay. We just gonna move forward.
Where do you stand? How do you feel? Have you finally grown up?
Girl, I feel the same way. Shady. I feel the same way because I was right the first time. So
All right. Bring the Tina. Bring the people up to speed, Tina.
So
In case they did not watch the episode or they haven't seen it in a
you
while.
guys, go watch the episode. First of all, it's hilarious. I went and I rewatched it, and there were moments in there that obviously I forgot some of the things that we said it was years ago, but there were moments I was cracking up. I was like, we are funny. We're so funny. Oh my gosh. So go watch it. Go rewatch it. But so my stance was I wanted Whitley and Byron to be together because I liked how she was on her grown woman with Byron. He inspired her to be better, whereas Dwayne just kind of kept her in that same mental headspace of being a whiny brat. And I didn't like that. I didn't like she was a grown woman, but just constantly whining and whine, it was just it was a lot. It was a lot for no reason. So I didn't like it. I also don't believe in um, soulmates or meant to be. And so when Tanisha was arguing, oh, they're meant to be, I also, I don't believe in that either. There are too many people here on this planet for me to be searching for one person. Like that's too much. So that is where I stood, and I still stand there to this day. Tanisha.
Well, I will say this. I think it was very critical of you to mention Whitley's voice when you yourself
Don't do that. Do not do
have.
that.
I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
Would you say Whitley?
Do not. Don't even try it.
Should I introduce you the way that I usually
No,
introduce you
you
to
should
people?
not.
All I'm saying, sometimes a voice is a voice. So
But speaking to that point, her voice did change with Byron. She was grown with Byron. And she was
so wait, you need a Byron in
I
your life for your
listen,
voice to
I need a
change?
Byron. He turned into Papa Pope. He turned kind of crazy. But before that,
Right.
I was here for
What
it.
you want for her way? No. Okay, so where I stand, where I stood and where I stand. So I believe, well, here's the thing. I still believe that they should have been together, right? One part that has changed, though, I no longer believe in soulmates.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about it. Okay, how did this come to be? How did your perception change? How did your perspective change? How did you come to the realization that I was
Can
correct?
you move the mic? Can you wait? Calm
I am so
down.
excited.
You're really loud in your corner. I no longer believe in soulmates. So we actually had this conversation some years ago before we even turned the camera on. And we talked about soulmates, or destiny, or being destined for a person, right? And whether it's choice, right? And I mean, 10 toes down in the soulmate thing, right? I've always been 10 toes down in the soulmates thing. And I think I've alluded to the fact that this has changed with me, but I think this is maybe the first time that I've ever like said it out loud. But I have changed, because I do feel like, can you stop?
I'm just so hyped right now, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, yes, keep going.
I do believe that God creates people out there that are good for you. I still believe in people being good for you. And I do believe that there are certain people that can bring out certain things for you. And so obviously there are certain people that when you meet them, they can continue to develop with you in the best way that God has ordained your life to be. So it's a variation of like soulmates. I feel like there are things that God has called you for, and some of the best heights that you will reach when it comes to partnership, and that a partner bringing that out of you will be reached with a certain type of person. And you were looking for that, so you determine, you obviously get with God, right? And allow him to lead you to that type of person to be able to bring that out of you. So that has changed. Tina, are you happy now? Are you happy now,
Yes.
Tina? I know you don't completely get that reference because you don't watch Martin, but
Yeah, that went over my head. I didn't know that was a Martin
I,
reference.
it was a reference to the proposal, which don't watch it because you would hate
Oh,
it.
okay. Did they play Let's Get Married by Jagged Edge in the background?
No, let me just say that that was
Because
years
I would hate
before, and I hate that song. Ew.
it. Such a
Ew.
bad song.
Okay, so my perspective has changed in the sense of soulmates. So obviously that means that there are a bit of changes when it comes to my definition of why Whitley and Dwayne are good for each other. Why I do know that they are good for each other is the same way that I said that there are people that are right for you to be able to bring you to the height that God has called you for. I'm sorry, that is Dwayne for Whitley. What I do remember saying from that episode is that Tina, fix your
The
face.
silence was so loud.
Yeah, I know. What I do remember is that Dwayne was right for her person, whereas Byron was right for a career and a image. And I still stand by that.
I don't. I disagree. And again, like I said, I didn't know if Dwayne was sincere or if he was just jealous. Like,
I told you then, the timing was horrible.
it was.
But you know, like I know, men,
Well, yes. But that, again, like, I just don't like it. I would constantly be questioning, like, are we together because you want to be with me or because you didn't want anybody else to be with me?
I can't remember. In those episodes, did she ever ask him that?
I no. No, she never asked that. He was just like, baby,
So do you
baby.
think,
And she was like, Pookie.
first of all,
And it was
first of all, don't do that. Because you would definitely be Diane Carroll. Dad, just dad. By the way, we had a reference to that at work the other day. And
at your
one
church.
of yeah. I'm sorry, do you not reference a different word at work for you? No, that's different.
To be fair,
But
you may
yes,
not know what a different world is.
well, some of my colleagues did not know because, the world is getting younger and we're
Yeah,
not.
man.
But anyway, okay. So do you think if you were in that situation, you wouldn't be in the situation, so never mind. Okay, hypothetically, if you were in the situation. You see, I had the whole conversation with myself because I already know. Hypothetically, if you were in that situation, do you think that if you asked that question, that there would be the right words or the right actions that could show you that he was there for the right reasons?
Oh, okay. Hypothetically, if I ask this question, what could he do
Hmm.
to prove that he was there for the right reasons?
I said say or do, but somehow you instructed to do.
Because words are just words.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Ah, what could he do? That's the tough one because it's not like Dwayne didn't treat her well after they got married. It's just the fact that I don't know. If I were her, I would just constantly be questioning it. And he could say like, yeah, I'm here for you. I love you. But in the back of my mind, I bet that would always linger. Like, would we be together right now if I wasn't about to marry somebody else?
But do you stay stuck in that place if you truly do love that
No, you
person?
can't. You can't stay there. It'll be hard though.
Did we just have did we just have therapy
Yeah,
based off of
we
Dwayne and
did.
Whitley? This was actually not the direction of this whole conversation, but it was God
Yeah.
ordained. I guess we were supposed to. Let's talk about it. Speak on.
I mean, I think that's marriage in general, right? Like there are a lot of things you have to let go in order for it to work. That's probably the most difficult thing I would think when it comes to marriage. You have to. You have to let things go and move forward when you love somebody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and the fact that they were able to mature enough to get to that space as a couple, as a married couple, do you not say that that is maturity?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, so you're saying that Whitley matured?
Uh, well, she wasn't as mature. she,
You see where I'm going with this? You see where we're
she wasn't as mature as she was with Byron. She did mature. She did.
she she was living a facade.
You will say that till your deathbed, till you till you
I
meet your
will.
maker. And
It probably might be in my obituary.
first of all, no.
How will you know? How will you
I won't. I'll be
Wait, either way, it's not good though, because like either you're saying that you're dying before
well, that's what
me,
I would
or
say.
I'm not.
I'm gonna meet Jesus early. All this stress I got in my life.
Girl. Okay, well, like, that's a whole
It
nother
is. It is.
conversation. Because my God, All I know is that none of this is in vain, okay?
You're right. Is my praying in vain?
Of course not.
Yeah, you're right.
Ooh, how did we get here? So, Dwayne and Whitley, and Byron. Um,
Don't do Byron like that.
okay. All right. So, beyond what he could do for her, what were the traits that made Byron such a good man?
I loved his character. Um, he was integral. I feel like he possessed integrity, and I love that.
Didn't he have a mistress?
Wait, what? He had a mistress. Wait,
Wait, what was this? I don't know.
I don't remember that.
Was it a mistress or was it the stripper? Remember when he first got into when your face right now. Remember when they were first starting the campaign and they were going, it was one of the debates, and they had it was a lady that was supposed to have some type of tea or something on him, and the opponent was like pulled this lady out of the woodwork.
I don't remember that.
Am I remembering this
Well, maybe you are. Like, I haven't watched it in a long time.
wrong? Okay. I feel like okay, so you said his integrity with
Yeah,
this
but I don't
mistress
remember
of
the Mr. Stripper.
the mistress stripper. We make that part of it. We're gonna do some fact checking and
Yeah,
then we'll
I'll get
determine
back
whether or
to
not
you.
it's kept in.
I'll get back to you on that.
And not saying obviously not saying that determines
Right. Well, yeah.
his
Everyone
integrity.
has a past. So,
Right.
but also I just don't recall the Mr. Stripper. So let's do some fact checking first.
Yeah, because some of this. Okay, so his integrity.
Yes, his work ethic. I did love that.
Okay,
I
I give
loved
him
the drive. Um, I loved his maturity. I did. And I love that he brought out maturity in her. I love that. I feel like he made her better.
but I think we're forgetting that Dwayne was younger than Whitley.
Okay, we'll expand on that thought because,
No, that's it.
well, what's your point?
But you're talking about his maturity, and he's younger than Whitley. And you know, I know men mature late.
Well, so I kind of have an issue with that.
I mean, it's not
Mm,
right, but it's facts is
mm.
facts.
But I mean, are they facts or are we just accepting it as facts?
Now, I don't. Well, I don't think we should accept it,
But you're
but
accepting it for Dwayne right now.
okay. First of all,
You're excusing it.
okay, all right, touche. Okay, what I will say though, however, is I, there was something healthy. There's something healthy about right. Like he had immaturity, but so did Whitley. Right. Whitley was to again, like I said, Whitley was I don't want to say a straight facade, but she was trying to live up to being a senator's wife versus being Whitley that was Byron's wife. And that's one of the biggest things, like I know I talked about in the last episode versus now, like I still believe that she would have not known herself. And I think that there is something so pure. Wow, as childish as Dwayne and Whitley could be with each other in their moments, there was also something so pure in the fact that they were both willing to work and to grow, right? I know I mentioned that pink blouse. Was it pink or ivory? Whatever that blouse was. Of her. knowing that Dwayne had these aspirations. And so, what she knew to be her life, like, if I want to be with this man, my spoiled ways need to be put on the back burner to be a mature woman, to be able to look at our future and what that means. And that's maturity.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But I will. I'll give you that. But I still think Byron's better.
I feel you. I feel you.
But we said
I
we
mean,
weren't
that's
going to get stuck here.
oh, we weren't. We weren't. So somehow we did. All right. So we talked about that. But one of the things that definitely came up is in that conversation is getting married early. And so what we're gonna do is talk about our relationship status. We kind of already talked about it in an episode since we returned. But let's talk about our relationship status, and that can lead us into the getting married early
Okay.
part. So tell us your status, girl. What's
I
your
am single,
status?
single. I'm
What's
still
your
single. That's the wrong hand. I'm still single.
I was gonna
um, and when I tell y'all, it is hard. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I think in the Dwayne and Whitley episode, I said, um, I told you guys I was in abusive, destructive relationships back to back in my early 20s, and uh, I took a break and I called it healing. And I think in the process of healing, I started hiding. I said that in the Dwayne and Whitley episode. Uh, I can now say that I'm taking the steps to heal. And I do think healing is a journey. So it's not like I wasn't doing work before, but I definitely needed
right.
I needed therapy. I needed some extra help because it was some trauma attached to that. And
Yeah.
now that I've done this work, and I'm still single, I'm like, what is going on? Like, is it me? I can't even women to sit up and say, "Oh, the dating pool has pee in it," and I can't even say that because I can't even get in the pool. I don't know, like, if this is a whites only pool or what's happening to where I just can't even enter to the pool. I don't know what's going on, but it makes me feel terrible. It's hurtful. It's embarrassing. Um,
Mhm.
it's lonely. It sucks. So that's my relationship status. Tanisha, what about you?
Well, okay. Can I respond to
Yeah,
your
of course.
status
Of
update? Okay.
course.
So, are you honoring the work that you've put in right now?
I feel like I am.
No, 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 no. Not in the sense of having a reward, but you honoring yourself for how much work you've done.
No. Tori actually said that in our session. She was like,
Oh,
are
really?
you speaking kind words to yourself while you're in the process of this time by yourself? And I was like, well, no, because I mean, oftentimes it is literally like what I feel like there's something wrong with me.
What opportunities are men having to approach you?
I do go out. Here's the other thing. If I say, where do I go to meet men? Nobody ever knows. They don't know. They don't know where to tell me to go. They're just like, go out.
Right.
And so, but I do go out. I go grocery shopping. I go to the Target. I go to the Kroger. Nobody is, to be fair, I live in the suburbs. So,
But I think one thing that, and I'm not saying like this is the thing and the reason. Like, I think you being more social outside of the house, outside of grocery shopping,
But
could
where?
help. But well, there's some places we can do a happy hour or so.
Okay.
We could do that. But even beyond that, the reason why I asked in terms of are you honoring the work is because while that is a benefit, right, of your healing is that you get to bring your whole self to a partnership. Like you also one of the major benefits is that you get to be the best you for you in this heal version. And you've done a lot of work, Tina, like a lot of work. And I think you should honor that about you versus seeing a win. Oh
I
no,
know. I
Tina,
know.
no. Oh no. But it's true. It really is. You've done a lot of work to be able to honor the work within you. To why am I crying? You deserve you. And so what we're gonna do is take the best you and the best me, and we're going to go out and we're going to be social, not only just for ourselves, because we deserve also to have a 36-year-old life, 37 technically, because my God, these birthdays are running down the hill. um, but I think one of the things that we both have done as a disservice to ourselves is that we have been waiting to live life and we have to create the life, like not just behind work, not behind partnerships that may be there, may be broken. Like we've got to live the life that we want, the same way that you vacation. We we can enjoy life here in Dallas. Like we don't live in a podunk city. And so I think us being able to have the fun can, so to be very transparent, Tori kind of told me the same thing in my therapy session that in my waiting in unveiling some answers from God in where He has me to be, that my weight needs to look different and the way that I look at my weight needs to be different. And I think one of the things that we can do to be of service to ourselves is living that life in waiting instead of waiting in the life of waiting.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
So let's make a promise to ourselves, especially, and this should be easy with our birthdays coming up, um, that we're going to enjoy life.
Yes. Promise.
Is that our new signature?
That's it.
Oh man, I didn't expect any of this. Y'all, let me just like break down the fourth wall. I've had the hardest time the last few weeks at work. This week itself has been so hard. And I literally told Tina that I am going to give her nothing in this episode today. And she was like, okay, I got you. I don't know how we got here.
You know?
All we can God.
Yeah.
God be knowing. He be knowing. Um, yeah, he be knowing. um, but I guess that's a good segue into my relationship status.
Yes, please tell us.
Uh, so, as you guys mostly know, those who are the old side eye crew, knows that I was married when we were recording when we first started. So I got divorced. I think in one of the episodes where I said that I wasn't married anymore, I think I said that we had been divorced like 3 years or separated 3 or 2 and no, separated 3 and divorced 2. That is not correct. The pandemic throws off all sense of time. We have not been together for 4 years.
Ah,
And we've been divorced for 3. Time is a weird thing. So we were married for 7 years and we were together for a total of 11 years. So when Tina teased me about being married since a baby, it's somewhat true because I'm merely 12. But no, seriously. One of the things that came up in that conversation in our Dwayne and Whitley episode was being getting married early and how in other races, I was about to say genres. Maybe I'm still
you're
stuck
stuck
on
in
our
music.
music in other genres. In other races, it's very commonplace to get married early. Whereas in our race, it's not that it is or isn't. However, it is such a commonplace. And so Tina definitely made a point as we were talking in that episode to really talk through the fact that, like, they're taught that it's just the norm, right? They're, I don't want to say bread because that sounds so
But
You just see me like, find another word, find another word, find another word, find another word. Thesaurus, not bread. But no, I mean, it is commonplace for them to get married young, and to just keep fighting the good fight, of whatever that relationship looks like. And that's not really always commonplace in our community. So Tina, do you want to kind of talk back through that? I mean, I kind of did a synopsis of how you feel, but do you do you feel like anything has changed from that?
no, not
Or
really.
your
I
thought
I
process?
know I kind of have perspective now. Um,
Okay.
now that we're a little bit older, I think what's happening is marriage is spoken down on everywhere. Even in church. The other week, I was in church and they were having something for the marriage ministry. And the deacon was, explaining how they were going to be discussing sensitive topics, sensitive issues. So it's only for married people. And then he was like, singles will have something for you later on. But you know what they say? It's better to be single wanting to be married than to be married wanting to be single. And I was like, and no one laughed. Like, I was like, why did he feel the need to add that? Like, why are we speaking down on marriage in church?
Hmm.
Because there was no reason for that. You're not going to make a single woman who wants to get married feel any better,
Yeah.
any differently. So
Yeah.
there was no need to say that. And I think, men, they don't look at
Uh-oh.
marriage as if it's a benefit. They don't look at marriage as if it's good, a good thing. Um, and
Yeah.
men in our community, I'm sorry. Um, and
Hmm.
I think men, in making jokes about marriage, they're maybe unconsciously teaching younger men like, oh, marriage is bad, don't do marriage, don't get
Yeah.
married. But it can't be that bad because they're still
Yeah.
married, right? Like, so it's,
Yeah.
I would prefer in church especially that you just get up and you praise what God has called good
Hmm.
instead of speaking down on it. I don't know why our community speaks down on marriage the way that we do.
Yeah. So do you think that the current pool of single men don't have an urgency to get married, or men in general?
I think it's the current pull because I think back way back when maybe they weren't acting right, but they did get married.
Right. Well, I'm also thinking about, because there are, I feel like over the last few years I've met guys who, like, either through work or just industry stuff, that, I mean, they go up for their wives,
Love
like,
that.
and
Love
yeah,
that.
like they love on their wives, and they're young, right? Like, not all of them are, our papa's age, our uncle's age. Like, they, like, a lot of them are around our age. And so that's why the reason why I asked that is because, me with generalizations, right? And while they may be few, I do believe that there are men out there who are eager to get married. I just think a lot of them are married. Those who
That's
want to
yeah.
did.
That's a fair assessment. That's an accurate statement.
Right? So then it's, how do you then show the benefit of someone who may not have been against marriage, but hasn't been shown that what marriage could really bring to your life and what they could bring to
Well,
marriage
that's
as a viable option, which goes back to your statement about the church, right?
but even
Or
just
anyone speaking.
friend groups, right? Like uh there'll be husbands like in our friends groups and I'll be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
did your husband have some friends?" And they'll be like, "Ah, nah, sis, you don't want to talk to." And I'm like, "What? Why is that mean your friend? If if, if they're dogging out women, and why aren't you being the light?" I know people say like one bad apple spoils the whole bunch, but I more so believe a small flicker of a flame can light up a dark room. Why don't you be the light
Hmm.
in your friend group? If you see this man not acting right, if you see this man not treating women right or women right, correct the behavior. Say, hey,
Yeah.
listen, that's not right. And then brag. I mean, become a braggadocious fool about your marriage and the benefits of marriage. Because yeah, it's a little off-putting for me to watch a video of Charlemagne the God sit up and say how marriage is great, and then I get to church and y'all are like, "Bleh."
I was like, wait, how Charlamagne
Yeah,
into the chat room?
Charlemagne Gay said,
I have yet to see a man ruin his family because of infidelity and be the same person after that. Either they become a better human, but there's always that regret. There's always that hole. And I wish that that's the conversation us as men should have. Like, instead of being the adult that my dad was to me, telling me like, oh, you only got one girlfriend? One day you gonna understand. I'd rather be the dude that said, hey man, when I started devoting myself to my wife, like literally committing myself to my wife, I'm not cheating, I'm not doing nothing else, and I'm going to therapy, and I'm doing the work on myself. So look at my life the last 6-7 years. I came up in every way, like every way, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, everything.
Okay. All right. So I definitely understand. I do think that I'm starting to see that there are more men in this world who, what's the best way to put it? There was almost this fear created when it came to partnership, let alone marriage.
mm,
I think a lot of that stems from men being able to truly express their
mm-hmm,
emotions.
mm-hmm.
And so they operate in relationships through fear, which we all know you cannot enter marriage with fear. And so there then creates this unhealthy cycle of relationships that leaves a woman who may be ready, right?
Yes,
Broken
yes.
because of a man who operated out of fear. And for me, just so you guys know, I'm kind of mentioned it a second ago. I don't like generalizations because I believe that people are individuals. They're made from situations that happen in their lives. But I wholeheartedly believe in patterns. And until you heal from trauma, you will continue in the pattern and the
And
cycles.
there are a lot of men with some trauma. And
Yeah. And I think they're afraid to tap into that, right? So that's why I love like Kiera Gaines. Who else is another one? I think even DeVal kind of touches on it. There are people who are people our age, right, that are in their mid to late 30s. Oh my God, his name is Michelle Mikkel. I think it's Mikkel something. They're like those are the three main guys that are like even on just on Instagram, right? So social media, but they openly talk about therapy. They openly talk about healing. They openly talk about like their love wounds and how they knew that they had to move past them to be in proper relationship with the woman in their life. And I think it's getting better in the sense of men being freer. That's the best way to put it, to open up about it. But I think that there's still a lot of societal stuff that's keeping them locked into the space, locked into the mentality of the men of the 80s and the 90s.
agreed.
And that's why we like even if you try to go back and watch TV shows from back then, you're like cringe, like, y'all talk like this? Like you spoke to a woman like this? Like so it's tough to be able to break these cycles that they've either witnessed or are emulating, or witnessed in person or emulating through other situations, and through TV. So I I do believe that there are a lot of young black couples that are still fighting the good fight who got married early. Um, would I recommend it for someone? Um, you have to know that that is the person that is willing to grow. Like y'all have to really prepare yourself for the opportunity of growth because kind of the same thing with Whitley and Dwayne. Like they were not the same people when they first met, and they obviously like you as individuals you're going to grow, and so you need to know that the person that you're doing life with is willing to do life with the versions of you, and that you guys are creating and keeping space for each other and who you're developing into, throughout the years. And I think that's where we get wrong in this generation is because we say I do to the person in front of us versus the 10 years
Right.
down the road, the 15 years down the road, the 20 years
And
down
they'll
the
be like,
road.
oh, they
Um,
changed. And it's like, yeah, it's been 10 years.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
you're supposed to. And the ironic thing, like I think we talked about this before too, but I didn't even get married that young. Like I was 26. Yeah, I was 20. Yeah, well, yeah, I was 26. So it's like I had lived a little bit of life, thought I knew, but my God.
And 26-year-old you and 36-year-old you, are they different? Are they different people?
I don't know who she is. No one has invited her to the party. You are not. No, 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 no. Go ahead, sit down. No, no, no. No, no, no. You don't even open your mouth. You don't even know what you want. So yeah, so I think that, getting married early, I think as long as you are moving in the right direction with, I don't even want to say the right person, but with a person who is willing to grow with you, it makes a
Yeah.
difference. And it sets you up for success. And the other part of it is being willing to, kind of like we talked about, work through the hard stuff, right? Understanding that there are going to be situations that come up that you could have never even fathomed. And it's how are you going to navigate that with that person? And will you still say yes? It was funny. I was just talking with a coworker today, and we were talking about the premarital classes at the church, and we were talking about how like the timing of it, because they do the premarital classes not just as engaged couples, or like you can basically be like just seriously dating. So you're in a serious relationship and you know that marriage is where you guys are heading to. Um, and so I was telling her, I was like, even as being as someone who did those classes, no longer married, like what was the miss and everything that we learned there. And so as we were talking, I told her, I said, the thing that I I told her the part that was beautiful is that they were doing it before they were engaged, because then you don't have the pressure of having to plan the wedding in the midst of this process, but then also having to, then if things aren't
Right.
going right, the person be like, JK,
Yeah.
y'all, JK. But the other part of that, right, is that you then, as many people start, as you say in marriage, right, marriage is a choice. You choose that person daily. When you are choosing to continue in that relationship after doing these premarital classes, you're making the choice that day. It's one thing to be able to kind of navigate throughout a relationship without having the knowledge, but when you know better, you do better. And part of that doing better is making that choice for that person. So the fact that you're making the choice before you even get to the ring, before you even get to the altar, like that is a beauty within itself that some people like will never know. And like that to me is like a huge step in relationships, and I don't think a lot of people even think that that is an option, right? They don't think about even doing that level of work before you have the
Right.
ring. Have you heard of many people like doing
No.
that? And you think about, if more folks in our generation or in the younger generation are doing that, like how will that change the trajectory of stats, of the
Mm,
data when it comes to
yes.
marriages? How will that build the next generations of family? Like, again, to go back to the church, like the church has a lot of responsibility in this. Like, you can't just point the finger as to the world is, this is what it looks like. Like, what are you doing to change that?
Right. Right. Ooh.
I remember I told you I wasn't going to give you anything for this
And
episode.
you've been dropping all the nuggets, all the golden nuggets.
I done lived a life. I done lived a life, girl. I done
Mhm.
lived.
Mhm.
I feel like me, like Grandma Shaw. Oh, honey, I done lived a life. I done lived. But the part that I'm excited about is, and I told you this when we were going through the paperwork. I am someone's wife, and I will get remarried. Like, that's no ifs, ands, or buts about, and it will be my second and
Yeah.
final husband.
Yes. Amen.
Not second and final, like I ain't doing it again. No, like
That's it.
this
That's
is
it. That's all.
that's all,
Hmm.
folks.
I love that. I love it.
And that goes into one of the conversations we had like, randomly, but not randomly. We were talking about starting to record again, And I was listening to a podcast, and they talked about whether divorce was an option.
Mm-hmm. Divorce is an option, ladies and gentlemen. It is an option. Let's stop saying it's not. Y'all are
As a divorce, as a divorcee, it is an option, right? But do we lean on that option instead of the word?
no, absolutely not. And that's not what I'm saying, right? So on this particular podcast, what was it? Marriage and Money? Is that what it was called? On this
Yep.
particular podcast,
Yeah, with Egypt and oh God, what is her husband's
I
name?
don't know, but they're very sweet. They're a very sweet couple.
Yeah, that is what you said when you were about to say. I do not agree.
Well, and it wasn't them. It was Montel Jordan and his wife that were talking about divorce is not an option. And I think, again, this goes back to, us talking about Dwayne and Whitley and me not knowing if he was jealous or not. Like, I don't ever want to have to question your love or loyalty for me, right? If I take divorce off the table, then I don't ever know if you're truly choosing me or if you're stuck here in this prison that I've made for you. And vice versa.
Right.
So the way they described it, Montel and his wife, was it's like putting a gun on a table. And they were like, just take the gun off the table. And I'm like, no, keep the gun on the table and watch me, even when you're getting on my last nerve, watch me walk past the gun and not pick it up.
Yeah. I am terrified that you took that analogy further.
That's what they said. I'm just saying.
No, they right. But you took it further because
well, I have to so that you can get the point. Like, I'm not ever going to choose to pick it up. We could be having a bad day, but I love you and I'm staying because being with you on a bad day is better than being without you, right? So I'm going to choose you every time, right? And I'd rather you know that than you ever questioning, like, is she just with me because she can't go nowhere? Because I took the option away. I'd rather you know, like, I'm here because I want to be here, and vice versa.
Yeah. So how do you navigate? Wow. I was going to say, how do you navigate like divorce not being an option with a theory and the reality is you don't? Do you think that's a phrasing? Because from my point of view, I know that divorce is an option, right? Like logically, like duh, it absolutely is an option. But what I want to know, and we might be saying the same things in just a different way, but what I want to know is that I'm secure in this space with you, that when things don't go the way that you like, obviously that I don't abuse our relationship, that I don't mistreat you, that I don't, belittle you, that I, all of those things, right? Like in full respect as human beings and as husband and wife, that I know that if I annoy you, that you're not going to leave.
Right.
That if I do something that is against something that you would choose to do, that you're not going to leave. So how do you navigate that language to like where you stand?
I mean, I feel like that comes down to trusting your partner, though.
Mm-hmm.
That trust is the foundational piece. So I have to trust that, if I get on your nerves one day, you're not going to walk out because divorce is an option. Like, but again, right. I'm not ever going to sit up and say divorce is not an option, because if you don't want to be with me, I don't want to I don't want to force you to be with me. But at the same time, like, I do have to trust that you're not going to, peace out just because I've upset you one day.
Right. And I think, and this goes back to, one of my favorite TV shows,
Frasier?
in the words of Pastor. Wow, no. I still have yet
I
to
cannot believe that was
watch that.
so funny. I was like, watch Frasier. And you were like, absolutely.
Why? I am not that tortured in life. No, thank you. So anyway, in the words of Pastor Cow, don't play with divorce. Do not play with divorce. And I think that is where I can understand the language of divorce not being an option. Because I do think in our generation, divorce is thrown around so easily, so haphazardly, because it's the first option instead of the work.
But not devil's advocate. The devil don't need an advocate, but a different perspective. I ain't on your side,
Different
Satan.
POV. Not today.
Not today. I'm on the Lord's side. Okay. Different perspective though. Do you feel like in saying that though, because divorce can be the first option, this is where men are getting the narrative of women aren't loyal. To give y'all some background, I watch another podcast, and the guy on the podcast, I'm not going to say what it is, but the host of the podcast is always talking about how loyalty has gone out the window. And he had a guest on one day. It was a comedian, and he said, you know, his friend had gotten divorced and his friend didn't even see it coming. And I have a hard time believing that. I have a hard time believing you were married to this woman for several years and she didn't say nothing to you. And she just like woke up and filed papers one day. But y'all don't see it coming because you don't think she'll ever leave, and you're refusing to do the work because you don't think she'll ever leave. And then when she finally can't take it anymore and she does leave, you're like, well, I didn't even know there was anything wrong. And that's why there's like, I think the percentage is 75% of women file for divorce over men. And all the men are always just taken aback, like, what? And it's like, no, she told you several times you weren't listening.
Yeah.
And you weren't doing the work because you made divorce not an option. But sweetie, it's an option. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I feel like if you take it off the table, then there's no incentive to do the work.
Gotcha. So maybe we don't know the language. Because while it isn't an option, it shouldn't be the choice. Maybe that's the language.
I like that.
Right? Because marriage is hard. And also in the words of Pastor Cal, marriage ain't for punks. Like
it's not. It's not.
So you have to make sure that, I don't want to say you're marrying the right person, but you're marrying the right person for you that can do the work with you, right? Because again, we don't know what life can throw at you. Like, you know, I'm the type of person that's like, let me give you all the scenarios and see what your response is to see what it is. And like, you cannot create the amount of scenarios on dates to know if that's the right person, right? Life has to literally happen. Yeah, for you to see that person in action. Because even if they give you the right words, how they react to situations can be completely different. And so, while it is an option, it should not be the choice.
I like that.
All right, we found the language. We navigated through that thing. We did it.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Well, I want to end the conversation on topics that kind of go hand in hand, sort of. You took a deep breath. Do you know the last one? Okay, good. I was like, oh God, are you preparing yourself? I want to talk about this soft life that us Black women are stepping into. Do you see how easy breezy, beautiful cover girl that you just turned into?
Yes. I'm here for the soft life. Oh, I'm here for it.
And I want to talk about the soft life and how that plays into submission, right? We're talking about marriage. We're talking about being in partnership with men. I think one of the things that we're really missing in relationships, and this is beyond dating relationships, even friendships, even parental spaces, siblings, cousins, all the familiar things, right? The familiar things. You have to trust the person. And when trust is developed and honed and I mean, I when you know that you are in a safe space, one of the things that Tori and I have talked about is stability. We've been working through stability through just about in every way. It's so crazy because I think we'll be talking about one problem and it's like, well, this is stability. And I'm like, wait, what? This is you craving stability again. And I'm like, I see that now when you say it like that. But all of that boils down to trust, right? Trusting that you're in a safe space with the person, trusting that you're in um, a safe space with yourself, that you're making good decisions, right? Like there's so many levels of trust. And I think people forget that shows up through submission.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I that a woman can easily submit to a man that she can trust.
I believe it's
She can be
in us. Like, I
yeah,
believe that's how God created us innately. I can
absolutely.
follow you to
Absolutely.
the ends of the earth if I can trust
Hello?
that
Tell it,
you're
Tina.
not leading me into the gates of hell.
I think I might was a little bit like it didn't go that far, but I said the abyss. Like no, they done led you through the abyss, girl. Did we make it to hell?
Are we here? I need to turn around.
I, I didn't say turn around, but turn around. But no, it's absolutely true. Like I think that people are playing with people's emotions and their trust levels and then still having this expectation that this person will submit to you.
Mm-hmm. And that's why divorce is an option, ladies and gentlemen. Full circle. Full circle. You cannot demand
Okay, but
submission. Listen,
if you ask
if
to
you're not
God,
submitted to God,
come on.
I need to see that you look like Christ. You need to look like Christ to me. Marriage in general is supposed to be a representation of the love that Christ has for the church and vice versa. You need to look like
Mm-hmm.
Christ to me in order for me to submit to you. And y'all are out here looking like demons. That's the problem. And then you wanting people to submit and you don't look like Jesus.
Yeah.
If you look like Jesus
Yeah.
to your wife, oh, she'll follow you everywhere. Whatever you want to do, wherever you want to go. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Women don't have a problem with
Yeah.
submission. That word is not scary. That word is not a cuss word. That's going to actually put me into the soft life because I ain't got to worry about nothing. My man's got it. And I know he's got it because he's talking to my father. And our father's taking care of the both of us.
And I think men are missing. We can't wait till my man people down.
Yes,
My
my
man,
man,
my
my
man,
man,
my
my
man.
man, my man, my man.
No about you, but my man.
Listen, we would have to break out into song. Shantae's got a man. It's gonna be Tina's got a man at home.
Oh man, but absolutely true. I think that there is this stereotype of what our generation of women are, how they're reacting to situations and circumstances, and it's again becoming this generalization about whether or not women submit. And the reality is that especially our generation, like, yes, we have this level of independence. Yes, we have this level of drive. We out here and getting it, right? Like, there's no if, ands, or buts about it. Like, I am proud of our generation of women. We be struggling sometimes, but we be out here. And so I you can't tell me that a woman that well put together and that has strived for those high levels isn't willing to meet a man where he's at, not where he at, but where he's at, because he's following God. And so the trust that she's developing with him throughout a relationship, that she will not submit.
That's a conversation they don't want to have. These women are stubborn. They're not loyal. They don't want to submit. They talk back. Da, 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 da. Where's the loyalty that grandma had? Let me tell you about grandma. Grandma could not leave because she didn't have a job, and she had 7 kids.
Yep.
And then she was taking care of the 4 that your granddaddy had with the lady across the street too. She couldn't go anywhere. She had no resources. So stop saying that.
Yeah.
Your grandmama was miserable.
Absolutely.
And I hate the fact that y'all are ignoring that. Like, your granddaddy broke her heart constantly, and y'all are just ignoring that. Oh, grandmama was loyal. But she was sad and hurt. And you don't care about that?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, we glamorize these parts of life. We glamorize these parts of history. I mean, we all, like, it happens all the time, right? It's absolutely true. And I think there is opportunity from both sides, right? Because I do believe that there are women who are operating in fear in being able to submit, right? There are elements of trauma, there are elements of experiences that have created a barrier to that. But I love what's being talked about now, the fact that this soft life is a thing. Like, let's make it a soft life for all of life, right? I want to have a soft work life. You know what I mean? I want to have a soft relationship. Like, I want to be able to work hard but still have a ease and security about where I am.
Right.
Like,
and that's all it
I
is.
want to
It's security.
Yes. I want to have a soft friendship. Like, I want to know that you got me.
Mm-hmm. All of that.
Like, I don't even know if I got anything else. Cheers to life. Men deserve the soft life too.
They do.
Like, you deserve to know that when the world is trash, that when you come home, that you are safe with me. The words that you say will not be thrown back against you. They will not be judged to the point of ridicule, that you are being made, feel like you're less of a man. None of that. Like, you have the space to cry, to vent, like, all of those things. All of that, like, men deserve that space too. And I think that when we build up that level of trust as a community, that our relationships and our partnerships will flourish.
I agree. Yes, you just got to build that space of emotional security, both of us, and we'll get there. We will.
And to bring it full circle, I feel that Dwayne provided that for Whitley. So, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Wow.
No. The irony is, I told Tina this is going to be the shortest episode ever, but yet again, we are at 1 hour. But it was a really good conversation, and I feel like this is one of those conversations that will generate a lot of additional convos via social, via comments, all of that. So we are excited for you guys to continue the conversation. I feel like this episode we don't have a ton of questions for you guys to answer, but maybe an action. Maybe how are you? Well, I guess it is a question. How are you going to? How are you to create space for a future partner to feel safe? What is the soft life experience that you will create for your future partner, or how do you create that soft space for your
Your
partner?
current partner, yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, Tina, I didn't mean to like pass on my emotionalness today to you.
Well, no, you didn't. Again, my past 2 weeks have been struggle bus. So
So me, you safe, okay? I'm so glad that we had this
yeah,
conversation
yeah.
because it was super, super important. And I feel like it allows both of us who come from different perspectives at 36 years old to say, what do we see for our future and how God can continue to develop us as individuals and how we can be available and ready for our
Yeah.
future partners.
And we will be available and ready.
Mhm. Yes, yes, yes. That waiting room. We're gonna live in that
Yeah.
waiting room. We're gonna live in that waiting room. We're gonna live in that waiting room. We're gonna live in that waiting room.
I love that. Also,
Tori,
I
that's a
felt
shout
like I was a
out.
part of 3LW. Like, I'm giving 3LWTs right now.
Okay.
Y'all don't know who 3LW is, do you? Mm-mm.
They're listening to us. They're listening to us. They should.
I hope you do.
I believe.
I hope you do.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, well, until next time, guys, we are so excited to have these conversations with you all. I'm grateful for you, Tina, in encouraging us to return back to the airwaves. Wow, I'm so old. This is not the airwaves. The electrical waves. I don't know, to return back to the recordings, because I feel like there are important ways to us continue to heal through our journeys, and in community, and this is a form of
It
community.
absolutely
So
is. And I'm grateful to you, for speaking life to me today. Tori did it during our therapy session. You encouraged me today. I really needed it, y'all. I did not mean to break down, but I really needed that.
real well,
Yeah, so I appreciate it. Thank you, my sister in Christ. Go and be blessed in the Lord.
yeah. Amen and
Amen.
amen and amen. If all hearts and minds are clear, we call it an episode.
Everybody say bless. Say bless. We're going home. Bless.
Oh, yeah, I promise you, I have no energy right now, so this is all me.
Oh man.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Be over here all here.
Everybody. Get caught up with us. Bye bye.